Good morning out to you. I am Jamie, and this is, of course, Relax Radio, where we keep you company 24/7, 365, talking about all things interesting, not just in the UK, but around the world as well. I have a lot to tell you. I have a lot of stuff that happened during the weekend that I want to keep you updated with. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. More importantly, make sure that you are with us 24/7, 365, okay? You can join in on the conversation, say hi to me, share your thoughts, share your ideas, whatever it is. I would absolutely love to hear from you. So go on ahead and call me on 07852 or very simply, you can join with me on social media, okay? That is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We go as Relax Radio. And feel free to, connect with me and talk to me whenever you want and whenever you can. And I feel like every single one of us at some point in our lives just needs somebody to talk to, just needs to engage in conversation. And what better way to do that than connecting with us? Okay, that is why I am there for you. I am here. We are here. The Relax crew is here for you all day, every day. So make sure that you connect with us, that you say hi to us, and chip in on the conversation. Let me know if you like what you're hearing, if you have a different opinion, whatever it is. I don't mind. I would love to hear from you. It's such a pleasure having you on board. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you going out to you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's such a pleasure, like I said, to have you on board. Now, we have a lot to talk about, like I told you earlier on. But before we do that, I do want to remind you to download our app, okay? It's available absolutely free of charge on iOS and Android. So make sure that you download our app so that you can take us with you wherever that you go. It's super simple. With our app, it makes it easier for you to call me as well, because when you do download our app, Relax Radio app, on your Play Store or App Store, all you have to do is scroll on top and there is a phone icon that you can click, okay? When you do click that, you can directly get in touch with me. How cool is that? That is life made super easy for you. So make sure that you connect with me. Make sure that you join in on the conversation. Now, okay, today, before we get into the entertainment gossip, before we get into the entertainment news, I do want to help you be a little bit more productive, okay? Because all of us, it's a Monday, and all of us have those days where we're not too productive and we wish we could do more work. We wish we could be more effective. But, like all you want to do is just stay on bed and maybe stream a movie or watch Netflix or something like that. But the last thing you want to do is to get back to work. Well, I am going to help you out because those days are definitely days that I experience as well. Okay. But what I can do for you is give you a few tips or give you a few tricks and hacks rather that you can use in order to be effective and in order to be as productive as possible when you work. Now, see, firstly, I want to tell you that every one of us does some sort of activity, right? Either we're working or we're studying, and some of us do jobs in companies, while some of us have our own businesses, and some of us sell art in the streets, or some of us are housewives at work. So basically, we work at home. But at the end of the day, every single one of us has some sort of activity that we need to complete within the boundary of within the limitation of today. Now, some of us are very effective. I have colleagues, I have friends who are super productive, who are super effective when it comes to dealing with daily challenges. But then there are also others of us who, keep working hard, but you can't get the output that you desired. Now, if you're one of those people, well, then I want you to know that don't worry, because a lot of us get to that point in life at some point, where we work hard, but we can't get to that position, or we can't get that promotion, or we can't get to where we want to in life. Now, that's okay because I am going to give you a few tricks and a few tips on what you need to focus more or where you need to apply your focus on. So, firstly, see, I genuinely think if you do work and if you do want to be independent financially, if you want to be independent as a person, every single one of us wants to be more effective, right? Everybody wants to be as productive as possible. All of us, it doesn't matter what kind of work you do, it doesn't matter what kind of activity that you engage in. At the end of the day, all of us want to be as productive as possible. Now, everyone in this universe deals with people around you. Like, I don't think there's a single job where you can't, where you can go isolating yourself for too long of a time. And I don't mean physical interaction with COVID-19. With the pandemic, we have very little physical interaction, but there's some sort of human interaction that happens when you work with somebody. So you always have some tasks to do on a day-to-day basis, and you need to manage them well to live your life to the best possible standard. Okay, so first of all, whatever I'm going to share with you, I want to remember that I want you to remember that this is not a set thing, right? You need to alter it. You need to adapt these tips to work for you. So whatever I tell you, make sure to apply to your life and figure out if this is actually going to help your life, and then apply it and work on it. Okay, so because at the end of the day, I believe in life there are a lot of people know what to do, but only a few people actually do what they know. Does that make sense to you? Like almost all of us want, or rather, almost all of us know what we want to do with life. Almost all of us know what we're passionate about, but only a few of us do what we know. Knowing is not enough, but you need to take action as well, which is why let's take some action now. Let me help you out to be more effective, to be more productive in your workplace or whatever kind of work or studies or activity that you're engaged in. First things first, I think I've said this before, but I can't tell you enough how important this tip is. And it's a tip that I personally stand by, and I can vouch for you and tell you that this actually does work. And that is to make a to do list. Now, hold up. I know that you're probably thinking, oh no, we've heard this 100 times before. We've tried to do this as children, but it just doesn't work. Look, the era that we are living in, or this day and age, the status quo that we're living in, is a very multitasking era. Okay, everyone is doing more than one thing at one time, and everyone has a lot going on in their mind. And if you are someone that works on multiple tasks on a day to day basis, it's going to be hard to keep track of them. No matter how organized you are, no matter how put in place you are, it is going to be hard for if you're just doing it with your mind, it is going to be hard for you to keep track of all the tasks that you're supposed to do within a day. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about tips and tricks and changes that you can do to be as effective, to be as productive as possible when you complete a task or when you work. Now, the first thing that I did say, if you're just tuning in, well, I want you to make a to-do list. And I told you how when the moment you hear to-do list, you're probably going to be like, oh, no, we've heard this 100 times before. It doesn't work. It's only meant for children. But see, like I told you, we live in an era where we have to do multiple tasks at the same time. Now, when you do have a to do list, it's going to be so easy for you to keep track of every single thing you're supposed to do in a day. But this you already know. You know that having a to do list is going to make your life so much easier. But see, a lot of you say, "Oh no, it's all in my head. I manage my tasks in my head, and I always set the tasks, and I'm fine." But see, at the end of the day, when you write it down or when you type out what you need to do within today, it kind of gives you this sense of relief. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but for me, there is nothing more satisfying than just clicking, or I actually use a phone app to with my to-do list, so I type out everything, and there is nothing more satisfying than crossing out a task that I already completed. And it kind of helps me get on with my day. It kind of helps me be more organized, and also it helps me in my headspace so much, right? Because I have it all listed down. My head is not overworking. My brain is not overworking figuring out what to do next, because it's all there. It's all written down. And that's why I want you to stop relying on just your memory. Make a list of all the tasks that you need to do on a day to day basis. Okay? It is the time of technology. It is the digital age. So you don't need to take a paper and pen and write it down. Okay, use these technologies. There are so many apps. If you have a smartphone, there are so many apps that can track your to-do list and remind you to do this. And even if it's as simple as drink a glass of water, you are going to get a reminder on your phone to drink water. Use all of these sources of additional help that exists now. It's not hard to download some app that'll remind you to get on with your tasks. Do it. Okay. We use social networking to get in touch with everyone. We use online sites for shopping, and try using. Okay, one app that I do. I'll tell you the name of my the app that I use. It's called Evernote, and AnyDo is another app that you can use on your phone. So it's all right if you're not in touch with these technologies. A pen and paper still works fine, but I'm just giving you ways in which you can make your life easier, and ways in which you can be as productive as possible when you get on with your day-to-day tasks. Now, the second thing that I do want to talk about is actually quite interesting as well, and that's prioritizing your work. See, after making your to do list, assign priorities to them. List the tasks by calculating the importance and how urgent this specific task is. It's going to help you to focus on the right thing first, and you can schedule some break between the tasks so that you can get that recharge. You can calm down a little bit. You can give yourself a well-deserved break. Things that matter the most must never be at the mercy of the things that matter the least. Okay, so plan half an hour at the end of the day also to evaluate how things went. We always think about doing these little things, but most of the time we never do. It's like this. Okay, I know these are things that you've heard 100 times. I know these are things that that you're supposed to be doing, but you just never get to doing it. Even the to-do list, we've heard it, we know that it's good for us, we know that we should be doing it, but it's not something that we actually get to. So I want you to promise me something. Today, right here, right now, download the app on your phone, or keep yourself a diary or a notebook or something, and write down what you're supposed to do tomorrow. And I promise you, when you get the hang of it, you are going to get hooked on this system of organization, and you are definitely going to be so, so much more productive. The other thing that I do want to talk about, for you to be as effective as possible in the workplace, is to, in fact, use the right word, or use the right word at the right time. See, this is the secret to handling people around you. Like I told you, every single one of us have to deal with people at some point in our life. I know it's the pandemic, and I know a lot of us are remotely working, but that doesn't mean that we don't interact with human beings. Yeah, we don't physically interact, but how many calls, how many emails, how many interactions do you do within a day? Some of us are amazing in this. We manage everything with the help of communication, but some of us aren't so great. We work so hard, but you're not able to show what you do. Does that make sense? Are you a person like that? You work really hard, but you can't get your message across to people. So um, see, you need to learn communication. It's not something that people are given. You need to learn to communicate better. And if there are people that aren't communicating with you, help them get better, because you cannot be effective without good communication skill. You need to understand the task in order to do it effectively. Right? And the only way you can understand a task is by making sure that you listen properly and you get all the necessary information. And if you don't understand, then you need to ask. That again goes back to communication. So communication is extremely important when you're being effective. It doesn't matter if you're an employer or employee, you need to have that good communication skill. Ask whenever something is not clear. Some of the tasks do not require any work, but only require the sense of mutual understanding with people if you can make them understand. Think like the boss. Okay, when you are going to your boss, if you have to answer to somebody who's superior to you, think like them. First, get into their shoes. Think how they will validate the task that you are doing. Think of what they can say to this task that you just did. If you prepare these things in advance, you will feel more confident. You are going to be more effective in actually doing the assigned task. Be a good listener. Like I said, communication is key. Being a good listener genuinely does solve most of the problems. So before you try to jump into conclusions, before you try to jump in with your own thoughts, make sure that you always listen. I've noticed that some people are never ready to hear something against their work. I know it's hard. Trust me, there's nothing more hurtful than somebody criticizing something that you worked really hard on, or something that you put all of your passion to. But we live in a community, and it's important to understand other people's perspectives, especially if you're working for somebody else. So make sure that you listen to criticism, and instead of being worried and being sensitive about the criticism in itself, instead of taking it personal, make sure that you do something so that the next time you won't have to hear the same kind of criticism. The last thing that I do want to tell you that is going to help you be as effective as possible in the workplace is to learn from other people. Nobody, trust me when I say nobody is good at everything, but everyone is good at something. Does that make sense to you? Because I truly believe that every single one of us have different talents, and every one of us is good at something. So keep learning from everyone around you, especially from your colleagues. Read some good books, listen to some podcasts, listen to motivational talks like this. Okay? And that is exactly how you learn, and that's how you grow. I just want to remind you, good habits take so long to form, but they serve us lifetime. Make these tips a part of your life. For a habit to be formed, it only takes 27 days. So struggle for 27 days. Do things that are good for you so that it will become a habit. It is always good to create a better self. You are going to be proud of yourself, and that is all that matters. If you are proud of yourself, I believe that that essentially is success. So if you want to be successful, you need to be happy with yourself. And one way you could do that is being effective and productive at whatever kind of work that you do. I want to say hello to everybody listening in. We have Harry listening in, and he says, "Hey, could you give a shout out to my good friend Ray Pist?" Thank you so much for being a part of the show. It is such a pleasure, Harry, for being a part of the show. It's such a pleasure having you on board. A big shout out going out to Ray as well. With that being said, let's get back into some conversation in a bit. But for now, I want you to take a look at this video. A very good day to you, and welcome back to the show. It's been such a pleasure being with you. It's been such a pleasure having you on board the show. And I want to say a big shout out going out to every single one of you listening in. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you so much for interacting with us and, being with us 24/7, 365. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you. It's been such a pleasure to keep you informed with regards to every single thing that's going on. So if you just want, to keep yourself informed, and if you want to keep yourself informed with regards to every single thing that's going on, all you gotta do is make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Now, I will be talking to you about entertainment gossip, about good movies to watch, just keeping you informed in that spectrum of the things, right? But we also talk about politics, we talk about current affairs, we talk about business, technology, whatever it is, we are giving you the best of content 24/7, 365. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. And most importantly, I want to make sure that you interact with me, okay? Which means that you call me up, you tell me what you're thinking, you tell me your opinion, your perspective of the topic, because I would love to hear from you. Now, the number to call us is 07852 or you could simply connect with us on social media. Now, if you are listening in on either Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, either one of our lives, it's super simple because you can comment down below and I will have a conversation with you directly. How cool is that? Whatever you want to share, whatever your thoughts, your opinions, whatever it is, I will be having a direct conversation with you. So if you do have points that you want to share with, every single person that's listening in, we've got a lot of people tuned in. So if you want your thoughts and perspectives and ideas to be shared, all you gotta do is make sure that you comment down below, and I will definitely take it on air. Now, with that being said, I am Jamie. I'll be with you for quite some time, actually, giving you the best of conversation, trapping you with the most interesting conversation. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Now, I want to talk about something interesting. Now, okay, one thing that I think is super interesting is controversies. I'm not gonna lie to you. I absolutely love hearing controversies, especially in the entertainment industry, because God only knows there are so many controversies. There are so many mishaps that's happening with regards to the entertainment industry, and I just want to keep you informed of what exactly is going on. So first things first, we've been talking about the Golden Globes a lot. We've been talking about award ceremonies a lot. We spoke about the BAFTAs. We spoke about the Oscars, and we told you how there's a clear lack of diversity, right? And we told you, I actually did speak about the BAFTAs some time back, and I told you how there's been a lot of initiatives that has been put in place to, in fact, ensure that all people, all actors, all actresses, all directors, directresses, despite of their gender, despite of their race, despite of their skin color, get acknowledged for the type of art that they produce. So that was something that was done at the BAFTAs, and they did have a huge change in the voting procedure, in the nominations or whatnot, and we saw a positive change when it came to certain award ceremonies. But now, what's interesting and what everybody's talking about is how Scarlett Johansson, who is personally one of my favorite actresses, she also has rather joined the criticism of the Golden Globes. Now, actress Scarlett Johansson has joined criticism of the body behind the Globe Awards, and over how it plans to tackle discrimination. And now, a lot of actors and actresses and very popular celebrities are speaking up about the Golden Globes, and they're saying that there is a lot of corruption that is involved in the voting process, in the committee that gives out the nominations, that picks the nominations. There's so much controversy with regards to the fact that a lot of celebrities are speaking out and actually using their platforms to speak up about the corruption, about the lack of integrity that exists in the committee or exists in the organization that plans these award ceremonies, specifically the Golden Globe Awards. Now, the Golden Globe organizes the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. It's also called the HFPA. This HFPA is basically who organizes the Golden Globe Awards. Now, they have been accused of a lack of diversity and shadowy workings. Now, the Weeknd is another celebrity that has said that there is a lot of corruption, especially in these major award shows. Now, earlier this week, the body voted in reforms to widen its membership, and Miss Johansson is among the stars and industry figures who says it still needs a fundamental reform. Now, okay, if you're new to this, if you're just tuning in and you don't know what's happening, that's okay. That's why I'm here. I'm here to keep you informed. I'm here to keep you updated. So, why exactly are the Golden Globes one of the biggest award ceremonies out there? Why is it being criticized? Now, the Golden Globes, in my perspective, or actually factually speaking, the Golden Globes are second only to the Oscars in terms of profile, but organizers have been accused of discriminatory practices, accepting freebies, and other ethical lapses. Now, that is why everybody's talking about the Golden Globes these days. That is why it's been criticized, and that's why the Golden Globes, the committee, and the entire award ceremony actually has come under a lot of controversy. Now, in February, some time back, an expose in the Los Angeles Times revealed that there were no Black people among the organization's 87 members who voted for the awards. So that, for me, it's kind of problematic because it's all about representation. It's all about having the diverse opinion, and when you only have a certain specific set of people, then that there is very little discourse, in my opinion. I don't know, but that's my opinion. I would love to hear your opinion. If you think otherwise, that's okay. Go on right ahead and call me up, connect with me, and let me know what your opinion is. But in my opinion, in order to have that certain level of discourse, in order to ensure that representation happens properly, we need to ensure that there are people of different races, people of different types, and not just according to this expose in the Los Angeles Times, there were no Black people, or there were no everybody was basically very narrow-minded in the members that vote for the Golden Globe Awards. Now, this week, the HFPA outlined, HFPA basically is the organization that, or the other organizers of the Golden Globe Awards. And this week, the HFPA outlined a package of reforms to how it works in a bid to make the organization more inclusive, because, they're saying that that they value inclusivity, but what a lot of these celebrities are saying is that this inclusivity, in order to have actual inclusivity, we need to have fundamental reforms and all these little changes that this committee is doing. Now, they include widening its membership with an emphasis on recruiting members of the Black community and hiring diversity advisors. Okay, so it also said that it would loosen its cloak of secrecy and secret admission rules. So that's what the Golden Globes are saying. But of course, a lot of stars are saying that this is not enough. Many high-profile Hollywood figures have said that these initiatives, like I said, is not good enough at all. Miss Johansson, who has been nominated for 5 Golden Globes, urged others in the film industry to actually boycott the organization unless it makes significant internal changes. She said she recalled facing sexist questions and remarks by certain HFPA members that bordered on sexual harassment, which for me is absolutely crazy. These organizations are supposed to be I don't know, these organizations are supposed to be ethical. They're supposed to be diversified and moral and, all for feminism or so on, and, anti-racist or whatever. But see, these organizations that do decide huge award ceremonies or do cast the vote on huge award ceremonies like this are actually coming under light for being anti-feminist, for being for being actually very racist also. So that's amazing that these kind of issues are being brought to the light, especially because we live in an era where we believe in inclusivity, we believe in equity, we believe in equality. We believe that we belong to one race, and that's humanity, and our skin color or where we were born or our parents or what religion they follow doesn't need to dictate any of this, right? Especially when it comes to acknowledging people for their talents. It needs to be based solely on the talents and absolutely nothing else. So I'm glad that celebrities are actually using their platform to speak up against this outrage outrage that is happening, this anti-inclusive measures that are done by such big platforms. So I'm so glad that Scarlett Johansson spoke up. And I want to remind you also that if celebrities can speak up, and if they're brave enough to speak up, you are too. Always stand for yourself and make sure that you respect everybody around you, because that is absolutely important. It's important to show respect to people around us, and it's also important to understand that everybody at the end of the day feels the same amount of pain. All of us feel heartbreak, all of us feel happy. We have the same feelings despite skin color and gender and sexuality or whatever, right? We all feel the same things, and we're all going to die someday. And that's the most common thing, that no matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, it's something common that we all share. So let's understand that, and maybe try to respect each other and be there for each other, because if we don't have each other's backs, who is going to? So we live in a tough time. It's might as well be as nice as possible, be as kind as possible, and be as accepting as possible. Now, with that being said, we have a lot more interesting things to talk about. That was just a little insight on what's happening with the Golden Globes controversy. I just wanted to keep you informed. I hope you gained something out of that conversation. But I'll be with you for quite some time, keeping you informed and inspired. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I am Jamie, and this is, of course, a chat wrap where we talk about all things interesting, where we talk about every single thing that you need to know. Now, earlier on, we were talking about the Golden Globes, and I feel like that essentially was very interesting, and that was very essential that we had that conversation. So, I will be having with you more interesting conversations. So, if you just want to be a part of the show, if you want to let me know what's going on, how your day is going, whatever it is, I would absolutely love to hear from you. So go on right ahead, call me up on this number that is 07852473473. Or if you just want to connect with me, let me know how your day is going. If you're listening in on any of our social media platforms, that is Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, all you gotta do is comment down below, okay? If you want to give a dedication to somebody you love, if you want to join in somebody you love, or just say happy birthday, whatever it is, all you gotta do is comment down below and we can have a heart-to-heart conversation. I can reply to you directly, and we can make it so much fun. I want to say thank you to everybody that's tuning in. We have a lot of people listening in on the app, and I want to say a big thank you going out to every single person that is listening in. It's been such a pleasure having you on board the show. Now, I'll be with you for about an hour or so more, and if you have something that you do want me to talk about, all you got to do, like I told you, is either call me up or send me a message or let me know on our social media platforms. With that being said, I also want to remind you to download our app. It's available absolutely free of charge on iOS and Android. So make sure that you download our app so that you can take us with you wherever it is that you go. Now, with that being said, I actually have some very, very interesting news too that I feel like you all are going to love. So Elon Musk, I feel like okay, so people have very different opinions about Elon Musk, but in my personal opinion, I feel like he is such an inspiration. He knows what he wants and he won't stop until he gets it. And that kind of work ethic, that kind of perseverance and determination is something that I truly look up to, and something that I try to incorporate in my life as well. So in that aspect, Elon Musk is such an inspiration to me when it comes to working hard and building yourself up from nothing to wherever you want to go. So he's definitely an inspiration when it comes to that area. But one thing that's so much more interesting is that Elon Musk revealed very recently that he has Asperger's on his Saturday Night Live. So tech entrepreneur, that is Elon Musk. If you don't know who Elon Musk is, well, then you're probably living under a rock, but that's okay because Elon Musk is one of the greatest entrepreneurs to live on Earth right now. But this entrepreneur Elon Musk actually revealed that he has Asperger's syndrome while appearing on the US comedy sketch series SNL or Saturday Night Live. Now, the 49-year-old told viewers that he was the first person with Asperger's to host the long-running program to loud cheers from the audience. Now, the people with Asperger's interpret the environment around them differently to the other people, and there's a lot of well, it's a very taboo subject, to be honest. It's very taboo in the sense where people don't like to speak up about mental illness. But I want to tell you, it is a new age where we talk about everything, where we communicate. We're not afraid to speak up. We're not afraid to break the taboos. So, right after this, I thought I'll just give you a little facts about Asperger's syndrome. And if you do know somebody, I'll help you to actually understand this syndrome as a whole, because there's a huge part of our community, like Elon Musk, that actually or rather have Asperger's syndrome. Now, it is thought to be the first time that Mr. Musk has actually spoken about his condition at SNL. Now, the tech boss was guest hosting the sketch show, a coveted role that has been filled by an array of celebrities since SNL's inception, which I think is in like 1970s. Now, these include Adele and Chris Rock and Ringo Starr and Will Ferrell and so many people. And it was Elon Musk's turn to actually host SNL, in which he actually said that he had rather Asperger's syndrome, and he's the first to actually host SNL Live. Now, his comment prompted so much positivity. People actually loved the fact that he opened up about it, because we live in an age where mental illness is actually looked, or rather, syndromes like Asperger's is looked down upon. But this man proved to us that you can't let anything limit you, basically. And if you're wondering what Asperger's syndrome is, well, basically, it is a lifelong, well, it's considered to be a disability, which affects people in many different ways. So some choose to keep using the term, while others used to prefer to refer to themselves as autistic or on the autistic spectrum. Now, those with the syndrome may have difficulties interpreting verbal and nonverbal language, and many uh, of the people that actually do have Asperger's syndrome have need more time rather to process information. They also have trouble expressing their feelings in a very conventional way, to say the least, but they can be so empathetic, they can be emotionally aware than non-autistic people, which I think is absolutely amazing, and it's something that all of us need to be aware of. Now, many people with Asperger's syndrome have intense and highly focused interests, and a lot of them channel it towards their successful career. Now, that I think is what I do want to talk about. The minute you say an illness such as Asperger's syndrome, which is quite kind of looked down upon in the society that we live in, if Elon Musk can do it with having Asperger's syndrome, then what makes you think you can't? And that exactly is why I thought that was very interesting. And I'm so glad that Elon Musk actually did bring up the fact that he is a patient of Asperger's syndrome and he has it. And but that didn't stop him from getting to the highest pinnacle of a success. Now, some people on social media, however, question this claim. They pointed out that the comedian Dan Aykroyd, who has spoken publicly about his experience with Tourette's and Asperger's syndrome, has previously hosted SNL. So, there were kind of questions with regards to it. But Mr. Musk, who has more than 53 million followers on Twitter, also joked about his use of social media. He has faced a lot of criticism and even legal threats over his tweets in the past. And he said he accepted it, which is why I love this man. Okay. He just straight up said, I actually just watched the episode, and he says, he's posts strange things, but that's how his brain works, and he fully accepted it. And I think that's why he's so hilarious, but he's so authentically himself. And he says, I'm sorry, he's sorry if he offended anybody, and that's just who he is. Now, he says that he's been dealing with Asperger's syndrome, but he hasn't let that stop him from getting everything he wanted and from, being the best possible version of himself. Now, the billionaire also joked about his son's very unusual name. I don't know how to say it, so I'm not even going to attempt to say his son's name, but he and the singer Grimes announced the birth of their first child. I don't know. It's X and 12 Musk, but last year he said that it's pronounced like a cat running across the keyboard, and that's exactly what it sounds like. So he's a funny man, Elon Musk. My goodness, he is a very, very funny man. But see, one thing that the reason I wanted to bring this up is to have conversation about Asperger's syndrome. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Elon Musk, and he actually just came out, not more like he told the public about his condition, which is Asperger's syndrome. And he said that he actually does have Asperger's syndrome, but he continues to be the best version of himself, and he doesn't let that stop him from getting to where he wants to go, which I think is absolutely inspiring. So if Elon Musk can do it whilst having this difficulty, this added challenge, which is Asperger's syndrome, and I told you that with people with Asperger's syndrome, essentially have such a hard time dealing with emotion. They have a hard time understanding or comprehending their surrounding. With all of these challenges, if Elon Musk could do it, I totally believe in you, and I believe that you can do it as well. Now, let's talk about Asperger's syndrome though for a little bit, because I did want to bring it up. Lesser known things about Asperger's syndrome that you should absolutely know about. Now, when people hear the words Asperger's syndrome, they often think of children or Albert Einstein, even though he was never formally diagnosed. But here are some things that are less well known. So Asperger's syndrome, basically sometimes known as an autistic spectrum disorder, is a lifelong disability which affects people in different ways, like I just told you. Now, while there are similarities with autism, people with Asperger's syndrome have fewer problems with speaking and don't usually have the associated learning disabilities, but it still is very challenging to live with Asperger's. And and one thing that we do need to realize is that they're still they have a lot of meltdowns, and that doesn't that doesn't mean that they're any less of human. That means that they just need a little help with comprehending certain things, but they have feelings just like you and me, which means that we need to start having conversation about this. And I don't know, I think it's great that Elon Musk said that he does face challenges with Asperger's syndrome, and that just gives a lot of people out there hope. So love Elon Musk, love him for doing that. I would love to know your perspective. I would love to know what you are thinking. So go on right ahead. Call me up on 07852 473 More importantly, if you agree with this, if you think we should start having more conversation about mental illness, that it shouldn't be something that's taboo, it needs to be something that's spoken about, something that needs to be brought to people's attention, then go on right ahead and have a conversation with me, because I would love to hear from you. Now, with that being said, let's get back into a little break, but make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Welcome back to the show. A very good day to you. Hope you are having yourself an amazing Monday so far. And I know it's a little hard to get back into the Monday mood after a weekend, but don't worry because we are going to make sure that you be as productive as possible. And I gave you a few tips on how you can be productive, how you can be effective when you work. And I want to make sure that you just give some time for yourself. Okay, don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself, and make sure that you manage, plan out, and execute. That should be your philosophy of life. I did just come up with that, but it is the best technique to live with life, and it's the best technique to be happy with yourself. Because I don't know, according to my opinion, there is absolutely nothing more important than being happy with the person that you're turning out to be. Now, with that being said, before we get on into the conversation for the next couple minutes, I want to remind you to be a part of the show. Okay, so if you want to say hi to me, if you want to give a shout out to your loved ones, if you want to just engage in whatever conversation we're having, if you agree or disagree, it absolutely does not matter, because I would love to hear from you. So go on right ahead and let me know what you're thinking. Whatever your ideas are, whatever your perspectives are, I would absolutely love to hear them, which is why I want you to call me up on our numbers, that is 07852 or very simply, if you're listening in on to us rather on our social media platforms, you can definitely make sure that you connect with me on the social media platforms in itself, and that is by commenting down below. So if you're listening to us on live on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, you can comment down below and I can have a direct conversation with you. How amazing is that? I will reply to whatever concerns that you have. If you want me to have a talk about something specific, I will definitely talk about that as well. If you just want to have conversation, that's what we're here for. We're here for you 24/7, 365, giving you the best of content. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Now, it's the final few minutes of the show, but don't worry, because we got Tim coming up and he will keep you updated with all real world affairs, with current affairs, politics, business, tech, whatever you need to know. He will most definitely keep you updated. And I know it's kind of hard to watch news and read the newspaper sometimes, but if you want to keep yourself informed, well, then that's what we're here for. We're going to have healthy conversation in interesting ways, so that you are not just inspired, but also, motivated to get through with your day, and also you are informed, which is why you definitely need to keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. And make sure that you show us love on our social media platforms. Now, with that being said, let's talk about Coldplay for a second, because Coldplay's Chris Martin, actually, because he said something very interesting that I do want to talk about for a second, okay? Now, Coldplay's Chris Martin is genuinely one of my favorite artists out there, just because of how he lives his life and how authentically him. He's so authentically him, and that is why I absolutely love him. I love his music. More importantly, I love the persona that he portrays to all of us. And he recently went on an interview, and I did just watch that interview, and he said that lockdown actually made him confront his ego. Now, Coldplay's Chris Martin says that the pandemic has actually forced him to reassess his relationship with fame. Now, that's something we tend to not talk about as fans, as people that look up to celebrities. We tend to not think of, oh, what would Cardi B think of her fame? What would Justin Bieber think of their fame? Or more importantly, all the celebrities, how do they deal with their fame? Now, Chris Martin actually becomes very honest, and he opens up and he says that last year he had quite an eye opener, because he said who he almost had an identity crisis, because he couldn't perform, he couldn't go out to audiences, he could basically his question was, what am I without Wembley Stadium? What am I without my fans? What am I without singing? And I guess what he tried to portray was that he had a very, very hard time, because he couldn't do what he loved, and he didn't have that fame or external validation, essentially. And he said it's hard to say it out loud and it sounds really vain, but he said the reason he wanted to bring it up and he wanted to talk about the fact that he depends on external validation, he only realized that very recently. And he said lockdown made him realize that his self-worth essentially is tied to external validation that he gets from fans and from people cheering him on, and so on and so forth. So now the reason that I absolutely love this interview that he had, where he actually spoke of and he said truthfully that he almost confronted his ego, and he was able to love himself for just being him without having that extra credit or validation from other people. And he said that essentially made him become more humble as a person, and that made him understand that he was human just like everybody else. Now, with that being said, I think it's very important for all of us to talk about our egos, okay? Because I feel like we've been talking about how we can respect each other, how we can be good to other people and just live a good life. And I think a big part of that also has to do with our egos. Because I don't know, for me, for example, I don't know about you, but there have been so many instances where I couldn't be the best version of myself because of my ego, because I wanted to uphold this image that I thought was necessary or was expected of me. And because I had this ego, and that prevented me from having good conversation, from interacting with people who would have been an extremely amazing experience. So, what I do want to remind you in the next few minutes is to not let your ego get in the way, okay? Make sure that you don't make your decisions, or you don't decide who you hang out with or who you associate based on your ego, right? At the end of the day, all that matters is if a person is nice to you, or if you're nice to a person, that's literally all that matters. Social standings or materialistic goods or fame or whatever it is, it only lasts for a certain period of time, and it's so unpredictable. But the only thing that you can know for sure, if a person is good, that person is definitely going to be good, and that isn't essentially going to change. So don't let your ego stop you from being the best version of yourself, and more importantly, never let your ego stop you from interacting with all types of people. With that being said, I want to give you some techniques which I use to let go of my ego so that I can truly and very authentically enjoy my life. And the first thing that I do is to practice forgiveness and remember to let go. Okay, now I don't know. One thing that I believe a lot of people say, to become powerful, you need money, you need assets, you need to be famous. But in my opinion, power essentially, if you can forgive people, you are powerful. Because I don't think a weak person could ever forgive. See, I don't know. It is my opinion at the end of the day. I would love to know yours, but in my opinion, I believe that forgiveness is essentially an attribute of the strong. Okay, so the most powerful tool to let go of your ego is to make life easier and to practice forgiveness, not just for the benefit of the person involved, but for the benefit of yourself. Okay, you need to learn to forgive the people who hurt you the most, and more importantly, you need to learn to forgive yourself. Accept, let go, and keep moving forward. Forgiveness, I feel like, basically opens windows, and it is going to remove the negativity and allow this new happiness, not just for this other person involved, but for yourself as well. Second thing, if you truly do want to let go of your ego, you've got to practice honesty. You've got to start being open. Okay, too many people, I don't know. I know people. I've been that person that has spent money that I don't earn to buy things that I don't want, to impress people that I definitely don't like. And it's all become like a race or a game in society that we live. And I think that's really, really problematic. Just that's not important. The most important sentence that I've heard in my life, and I'm sure you've heard it too, is this sentence, a very, very cliche, I know, but it is so true. And that sentence is, the truth will set you free. Suppressing your emotions can definitely lead to a lot of negativity. It can lead to depression and anxiety. So always seek out the truth. If you don't like hanging out with somebody, if you don't like associating somebody, but you're only doing it for social standing or to look cool or to, get that fame or whatever, just stop. That's not worth it, because you're putting yourself through so much just to impress a bunch of people that you don't even like. So honesty essentially provides you this unconditional freedom, and it allows you to be connected to yourself instead of trying to be something that you're not. And I want to remind you that you have never got to be somebody that you're not. You don't have to portray a false image. You don't have to be a person that you're not, because at the end of the day, if people don't love you for who you are, well, then what's the point of their love anyway, right? So learn to say no to things that don't add value in your life and open your arms and run towards things that do. So that essentially, living with that philosophy rather, has essentially helped me deal with my ego. And, it's definitely going to help you let go of yours as well. Now, the other thing that I do want to talk about is you are not your ego. You are not your job. You are not the car you own. You are not the house you own. These are all material possessions. You are not your achievements either. So once you let your ego rather control your life, you are never going to be happy. You're never going to be relaxed, because as soon as you lose one of these things, as soon as you lose your job, as soon as you lose any one of these material possessions, you are going to have, because see, if you are egoistic, you kind of identify yourself with these material possessions. It's like you are not you without your fancy car. You are not you without your job. And that's something that you've created. That's a persona that you've created. That's this like mental state that you've started to identify yourself with. But I wanted to remind you, like I said before, all of these are so unpredictable. And if you lose one of this, then you are going to be so lost as to how you are going to identify yourself with, right? So you're going to lose your happiness, you're going to lose your self-worth. So make sure that you don't identify yourself with material possessions. Don't let your ego control your life. Okay, break the fears and trust life. Don't be scared to love people. Take risks, be curious, explore, and do what makes you happy. Finally, enjoy silent moments with yourself. I think what okay, so like even when Chris Martin spoke about confronting his ego during lockdown, I think the reason that is because this race that we have going on around us kind of slowed down because of the pandemic, and we were all locked down and we didn't know what to do with ourselves. And that time we had so much silent time to essentially deal with the inner us, to say the least. And that's when you look inside and you realize, oh my goodness, I have such a big ego, and that's been stopping me from doing the things I love. So what I want you to do is, like Chris Martin realized, like I myself realized during lockdown, that ego is not a good thing. One thing that you do need to come to that conclusion is to have a silent moment with yourself. Talk to yourself, ask yourself, are you happy? Do you let your ego control you? So make sure that you create an everyday routine to remind yourself why it's beautiful to be you. As cliche and as cheesy, or yeah, cheesy as that sounds, I swear to you that positive attributions, or affirmations rather, truly do help. It helps you realize that you are enough, that you don't need your ego, that you don't need to be not humble to be loved. Okay, so every day perform a selfless act of love and enjoy giving without the expectation to receive. Finally, remember to practice gratitude whenever and wherever possible. Take 5 minutes every day to think about all the people, all the experiences and lessons and mistakes you are thankful for. Like I always say, your life that you're living, no matter how horrible it may seem to you, is a fairy tale to somebody else. It's the kind of life somebody else would die to live. Okay, the fact that you have breath in your body, like I always say, the fact that you have breath in your body is something that you need to be grateful for. So be grateful. It's not happy people who are thankful, it's thankful people who are happy. So if you do want to be happy, if you do want to take control of your life, let go of your ego, the first thing that you need to do is practice gratitude. Then you're going to realize that because of the actions of other people, that's the reason you can live the life that you're living. So learning to let go of ego is not easy. It's very easy in theory. I know I can say all of this stuff and it sounds very easy to just let go of your ego, but it's very difficult to almost execute it in the moment. Take it from first-hand experience. Although I'm saying all of these things, my ego is probably one of the most difficult things that I deal with. But that doesn't mean that you stop trying. Keep trying every single day. Like I told you before, it only takes 27 days to form a habit. So do something good, like practice gratitude, practice positive affirmations for 27 days, and then it's going to become a habit and life is going to get so much easier. Now, with that being said, we have a lot more interesting content coming up. Before I go, though, I want to remind you to download our app because it's available absolutely free of charge on iOS and Android. So make sure that you download our app so that you can take us with you wherever that you go. With that being said, I want to make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Make sure that you converse with us, that you engage with us. Let us know what is going on. And you can do that by checking us out on Facebook, by checking us out on YouTube, Twitter, by following us on Twitter for the latest tweets, and also checking us out on Instagram. Now, with that being said, it's about that time that I head out of here, but hope you have the most amazing Monday ahead. Believe in yourself, forgive yourself, and be as nice as possible. With that being said, I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. But up until then, hope you have a blessed day ahead.